The Samsung Galaxy Tab S10 Plus is coming out, and S10 Ultra will be as well. The S10, if you remember, the regular one, the base one, is actually probably going to turn into the fan edition and will be released at a later date. S10 Plus, S10 Ultra should be out and talked about this month or next month. And we have some prices on the S10 Plus. Here they are. And for the S10 Plus, you're looking at about $999 for the 256 S10 Plus, and the S10 Plus 512 will be $1,119. Now, if you add 5G to it, you're gonna end up spending probably about $150 more per each tablet. So for instance, if you got a 256, you're probably looking at about $1,149. And then for the 512, you're looking at about $1,260 for that. And then remember, these do have the MediaTek 9300 processors. The 5G variant's supposed to have like the 9300 plus processor inside it, and these compete with what we should see and get with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 in terms of processing power. So we shouldn't really lose anything, and in some terms we'll gain some of the power, and about 12 gigs of RAM around across the board. There probably will be a 16 gig version on the Ultra. Now, to continue with the Galaxy S25 Ultra news, we have some information about it again today, and it has to do with the cameras, and they have been upgraded, but not all of them have been upgraded. And if you love the cameras on this, you'll probably love them on the S25 Ultra. Just don't expect any big jumps in terms of quality or performance with the camera. The information that's coming out from Ice Universe is that the Ultra cameras for the 25 specs have been confirmed. The only upgrade is the ultra wide camera. That's now 50 megapixels. The main sensor is still the 200 megapixel HP2 camera with 3x and 10 megapixels and 5x for that other lens. And so basically it's the same cameras except for the ultra wide. I think what we're going to end up seeing is like kind of what we saw with the Z Fold 5 and the Z Fold 6. Z Fold 6 takes like a clearer photo, at least from when I was comparing it against the Z Fold 5, and you'll probably see a lot of that same stuff with the S24 Ultra versus the S25 Ultra. I think the pictures, even though they're very similar, the cameras all the way around except for the ultra wide, I think what you'll see is a better quality photo on the S25 Ultra versus the S24 Ultra. But I also think that a lot of the vividness that we have in the S24 Ultra would be removed from the S25 Ultra, like they did with the Z Fold 6 versus Z Fold 5, which is a little bit of a turnoff because you get so used to the vividness of things on those phones, and then when they take it away, it's kind of harsh. But you kind of get used to it. Like now I'm at the point I'm like, oh, the camera looks great. You know, I don't notice really, the colors don't really bother me at all. But it is something to know about it. So yeah, what do you guys think about it? That'll be your question of the day. I know you guys aren't really, super looking forward to the S25 Ultra because it's not a huge upgrade over the last one, but a hands-on video of the Huawei TriFold smartphone is leaked out, and Trendy Tech Reviews put it out on his Instagram, and that's where I pulled it. I'll link it down below if you want to check it out. But I think what this phone shows is magnificent. There's so much to go with this phone. First of all, it's so smooth looking. Like you would think, at least I thought, that when you're opening a tri-folding phone, like it would look clunky, but it looks so smooth when you're opening the phone. Even as a regular folding phone like this, when you're doing it on this tri-fold phone from Huawei, it looks great. But then it's like there's another display on the back that he's pulling out, and that's where you see like, dang dude, the animation for that is crazy smooth and just silky. It doesn't look clunky at all. I really thought it was going to look clunky, and it just so doesn't. Then you add on that this is a tri-folding phone, but it doesn't look that thick. Remember, this is like basically 3 displays. This has 2, but the tri-folding phone is basically 3 displays. And even when all the displays are put up together like this, they just don't look that bad. It looks really good. And it looks like a device that I definitely, the more I see this, the more I want it. Because once you fully open it up and he's turning it, sideways and this way and that way and every which way, the display looks ginormous, And I can only imagine all the things that I could see better, especially as you get older. Your eyesight sucks. If you're not 40 plus, your eyesight will get there and it'll be crappy as all hell. And it's one of the reasons I love folding phones, is because I can make the text bigger but see things better on the screen. But still, I know even when I'm watching like a video on here, I still want it to be a little bit bigger. And this would definitely do and fill that need. It looks so freaking awesome. I really wish, because Huawei, I mean, sure you could import it, I guess, but I wish Samsung would come out with a tri-folding phone at this point. I know they have their own prototypes of stuff like this, and it's just so intriguing. It's one of the most, this would, you know, if this phone comes out, probably not, like a tri-folding phone for us Western world people is obviously not gonna come out in 2024, but if it comes out in 2025, I could probably easily say it's gonna be the most intriguing, exciting device out of any device that's been released. That's the most exciting. For me last year, if I had to break it down, or this year I should say 2024, devices that like just really blew me away, I'd probably say the Apple Vision Pro, even though in some regards it's a lot like other devices that you wear on your face, but it's just so immersive and perfect and easy to use, and I don't forget things, like I don't have physical controllers I have to worry about. It's awesome. And this, for me, a tri-folding phone would fit that bill of being like, oh my God, it's so amazing. 2023, I'd probably say 98-inch TV. 2024, I'd say Apple Vision Pro. And for 2025, if it comes out, it would probably be a tri-folding phone. It's just, it's crazy, ridiculous, amazing looking good. The Huawei Mate XT, which we talked about yesterday, which is the tri-folding phone from Huawei, has released an official video, as you probably have seen as I'm talking, and it shows this phone, tablet, even though it's a phone, off, and it's gonna be $2,800 in China when it's released, and you can import it. It's like $7,000 to import it from this site GizTop, which is crazy. I'll link it down below if you want to pay it, but I don't know who's gonna want to pay $7,000. But I wanted to talk about the video because I think it shows off some interesting points, and I'll also give you a full range of specs. So let's first talk about the video. For me, when I'm watching this, to me it looks like the phone, and I could be wrong, it could just be the video itself. It almost looks like when it's completely wide open flat, that it's almost like this. I'll put my hands like this, it's easier. It's almost doesn't look like it's completely flat. It kind of looks like it's wobbly, and maybe that's what we get with a display this large, which is 10.2 inches. And that's just what we have to deal with as well in terms of the engineering behind this device. But they show it off in a multitude of ways, from reading a book to just using it in a car and looking at your stock quotes and reading a book or a magazine on there. I think it's a magazine, and checking out websites and reading the websites, obviously, and doing all that real estate stuff, just using it as a regular phone. There's so many use cases for a display this big. I really want to see this, because it's funny, because when I saw the video yesterday of what that guy had, it didn't look wobbly, but in this promo shot, it looks more wobbly to me anyway. And again, it could just, like I said, just be how they're filming it, but it kind of looks weird like that. I still want it, don't get me wrong. I still think it looks absolutely the most intriguing device of 2025 or 2024. I guess it's gonna come out in 2024. It's super crazy, awesome looking. What about the specs? Let's talk about the specs. So the display's on the Huawei Mate XT, 6.4 inches when it's just a regular phone. 7.9 inches would be its mini tablet, the size of something that's already in the folding phones, like folding phones like we have with, like, say, the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, and then a 10.2 inch tablet when you fully unfold the screen, when you have it all, completely wide open. This is also the largest display of ultra thin glass. The 10.2 inch fully unfolded display is 90 Hertz tri-folding OLED display, non-Newtonian fluid material on the surface for 2 times more resistance. So, they're trying to add some resistance on this display in terms of if you drop it face down, hopefully it wouldn't crack. The cameras are 50 megapixel main, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and 12 megapixel periscope telephoto. So with that, you're not getting the best cameras that you can get in the world. And I'd be honestly, at this point with what we see with foldables, it's not a big surprise. The variable aperture, 5600 milliamp battery, does have a fairly big battery, but when you factor in that that's a 10.2 inch display, you've got to imagine the battery life probably won't be that good, but I guess we'll wait and see. 1.9 millimeter thin silicon battery, 3.6 millimeter thin unfolded, 12.8 millimeters thin when fully folded. Satellite connectivity, which you're gonna see on a lot of phones this year on Android. It's been on iPhones for a few years now, and now it's finally making it to a lot of Android phones. I know the Pixel phones have it, the new ones. 66 watt wired charging and 50 watt wireless charging, so some pretty fast charging on there. 16 gigs of RAM, and you can get it in 256, 512, or 1 terabyte, and it equates out to 19,999 is that won? Is that how you say that? 2,811 American dollars. So it is expensive, but honestly, it's kind of what I'm expecting. I was expecting $2,500 to $3,000. It's under $3,000. That's honestly a bit of a surprise, and it's still one of the most crazy looking devices I think most people will see. If you brought that out, you're gonna get a lot of looks and a lot of wows. That's gonna be, you know, I always get wows with my folding phones now, my Pixel or my Galaxy phones, and you bring this thing out, people are gonna pass out. This is a pass out phone. Looks awesome, still want it. The specs look pretty damn good. Unfortunately, it doesn't run Android. It runs their own operating system, and same thing with the app selection. It's very limited because of the fact that Huawei is unable to work with American companies and things like that. About the Huawei Mate XT, also known as the TriFolding phone, coming out very, very soon. And I wanted to show it off in a video that has been released. And in this video, they show off how thick it is. And if you look at it next to a Galaxy Z Fold 6 like this video shows, it's transparently shown that you can totally see that it's basically as thick as a Galaxy Z Fold 6, which is so impressive. And the Galaxy Z Fold 6 has already been slimmed down, and then you look at the Huawei Mate XT, and that phone has 3 displays, and obviously when it's like that, they can obviously probably slim out some of the components, meaning they can make it thinner. So it kind of makes sense when you think about it, but it's very, very impressive. It's about the thickness of a Galaxy Z Fold 6, and I see this and I'm like, dude, makes me want it even more. Why? Because you obviously don't want a tri-folding phone that is, you know, the size of 2 of these, the thickness of that. That would just be, it'd be a bit too much. But when you see it like this, you're like, you know what? This kind of makes sense. This can fit into my life. And these things are gonna get thinner and thinner as the years go on, so that by the time when and if Samsung, for instance, puts out their tri-folding phone, things are going to look a little bit different. We see this one from Huawei, and I would not be surprised if by the time Samsung comes out, it's probably gonna be thicker, but let's be honest. But I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the day, we notice and see that, you know, the tri-folding phone from Samsung is thinner than even the first generation Huawei Mate XT, and we look back at the Huawei Mate XT and we're like, wow, that's such a difference. I think the remaining question for me, especially on the Samsung side, which I cover a lot of, is Samsung going to ever release one of these phones, and when would they? Now, obviously it's not gonna happen this year. Is it gonna happen in 2025? Maybe. Is it gonna happen in 2026? I think that's probably more likely if they even do this at all. And when they do it, they might even just make it a tablet and make it one of their tablet phones, tablets, just regular tablets, no phone involved in there. But I think this conception of 3 screens on a folding tri-fold phone is really impressive and would potentially make me definitely want to go this route. Here's our first look at this Samsung Galaxy S25. This is the base version S25. Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 in there, most likely 12 gigs of RAM. The display measures at 6.17 inches, but will probably be rounded up to 6.2 inches on there. It's also, versus the S24, again, the base S24, it's thinner, shorter and less wide than that in every aspect, and carries over some of the design, at least on the cameras, for the Galaxy Z Fold 6, what we saw there, and I think it looks pretty nice. I actually like it a lot. I think it looks good on the back there, but in the general sense, it looks just like an S24 phone. You're really gonna break it down to the software is gonna be newer, but the S24 will end up getting some of that stuff. Beyond that, I can't imagine there's gonna be any new feature built into this that we were hoping or wanting to see. I just don't think it's going to happen. If you have a Galaxy Z Fold 5 and you're thinking about going to the Galaxy Z Fold 6, now, welcome to Gregolus TV Daily. Hope you're having a fantastic day. If you have a Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 5 and you've been wanting or thinking about upgrading to a Galaxy Z Fold 6, now is the best time to do it ever in the release, since the release of the Galaxy Z Fold 6. Why? Because you can get a 1 terabyte Galaxy Z Fold 6 for as low as $449 before tax. It's an amazing deal going on right now because they have a bunch of promotions going on, and you can basically get trade in up to $1,300 if you trade in a Z Fold 5. If you don't want to trade in any phone, you'll get a $450 instant off without trade in. With that, you get 2 years of free Samsung Care Plus, 100% free for 2 years. So if your phone breaks or you have an issue with your phone, you have 2 years to send it back and get it fixed. So if the battery just dies one day, they will replace it for you with that warranty. Also, like I said, if you trade in the Z Fold 5, you will get $1,300, which is an amazing deal. And then look at these prices: $256 for $479, or the 1 terabyte for as low as $449. So you can get the 1 terabyte for cheaper than the $256 and the $512. Now, you potentially will get these $449 price if you have like a workplace discount, or you're a student, or a first responder, or something like that. So check on those updates as well. Sometimes they just give you the update, so just click on it. It's at the top of here. So you can get an amazing deal on a Galaxy Z Fold 6. It is a great folding phone. I am loving it. Very happy with the Galaxy Z Fold 6. The camera is really nice. The fast fluid OS. The updates that they've given us, when you're gonna get 7 years of updates with this phone, it's definitely the best folding phone they have released ever. Is it a long, big, huge upgrade over the Fold 5? Not really, but it is an upgrade. You get the bigger outside display on here. You get the brighter displays. There's a lot to like about this phone, and this deal is freaking crazy, seriously. One UI 7, where the F is it? We thought it was gonna come weeks ago, and it never did. It got delayed because of bugs, and they wanted to get things sorted out so that they get it to people. And now we're at a point where they're gonna have less betas so that people don't have to go through this long list of issues and be unhappy with it and have bad press about it. But now it's like, where is it? It's still not here. Well, we have a little bit of information. We get some bad news for the Galaxy Z line on the beta as well. So the information that's coming out is from Tarun, who's got a great track record with One UI 7 or One UI updates. More in fact, One UI fam, he says, only 18 days until SDC, that's the Samsung Developer Conference. Still no One UI 7 beta, but I'm hoping they announce it earlier or at the event and start the beta program soon after. No Z build spotted yet either. Missing those early beta days. Now, if we're talking 18 days from now, that's October, really. And we were thinking it was gonna come out in September. All the information was coming out saying September, and the beta is now potentially into October. It still might come in September, but it seemingly might be even October. And then no Z spotted yet either, meaning it doesn't sound like there's gonna be, at least initially, any Z Fold or Z Flip One UI 7 beta software. Doesn't mean it's not gonna get One UI 7, it will get One UI 7, and most likely will also get a beta version as well, have it be on the 5 or the 6 or both, but it just means it's not gonna be one of the first phones to get it. It sounds like the S24 series will be the first phones to get the One UI 7 beta and get all those silky smooth animations and new features and new look to the overall OS. and I was really hoping it was gonna come, at least initially, to the Z Fold, because that's my main phone. And then S24, I do have it, S24 Ultra, but it's more of a backup phone or a camera I use to record a little bit with. But other than that, kind of a disappointment that it potentially won't launch when One UI 7 beta launches. What do you guys think about this? It makes sense, I guess, because you look at the One UI 7 and you think the Galaxy Z lines, those don't sell anywhere near what an S24 series sells. I mean, maybe it'll come a week later or 2 weeks later, which wouldn't be terrible. It's FOMO, fear of missing out. Let me know your thoughts on this. Have a great day, and we'll see you down the road. Peace.